Who's here? So they'll drive this one inside forward 50. Sliding in was Limbrick, couldn't quite complete the mark. Bruce forces it out. Wickham applying some pressure. The ball to Moffat, tries to just bend one with the outside of the boot, gets a little bit of territory. Did that pretty well in the end, did Moffat. Gets it away from the danger zone. It's tossed back into play. So thrown back into play towards the 50-metre arcs as Reid and Smith prepare to meet in the ruck contest. And ball out to Preshaw. Clark there to apply the pressure, tries to win the ball away for the Demons. In the end, Burt just repels up towards the middle of the ground. Archer just out pointing England. The kick was a little dicey though, back to Edmonds. It was composed initially. The kick though brings some danger. England now looking to force a turnover. And a holding free kick will bail the Roos out. They came a bit unstuck there. Perhaps fortunate to get out of it, but a free kick will leave the building pressure. There's been plenty of that in the opening 5.5 minutes here at North Hobart. This big preliminary final. Burt will receive the ball out the back, turns into the corridor. That's a risky kick. Spiked away by Lily Harper. And here come the Roos now. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Searching there for Wickham. The numbers favour the Demons. Mackenzie Banks turns back onto the right. Guides it into the corridor. It was composed play from Banks, and now they might be on the other way here, the Demons. Angie Clark tried to spring it on over the top for Grace White, but getting back in the way. Charlotte Edmonds did nicely. Got it across to Wagner. Murgatroyd's open at centre-half forward. That's just where she heads. Picks her out to perfection. Luca Murgatroyd. Limbrick calling for it on a short lead. We'll go a little deeper in the Wickham direction. Oh, Mackenzie Banks arrived just in the nick of time. Ball row fell in favour of Ava Reid. Couldn't quite bring it under a spell. It'll be tossed into play. Roos on the attack here. Trying to find the all-important first goal. Must have come off the boot. It's going to be North Hobart kick it in. It was a poor kick though, straight to Luca Murgatroyd. Too far out to score as Murgatroyd, so she stabs it inboard and finds Whitehead all on her own. And Hayley Whitehead with an opportunity to go back and kick from about 35 out directly in front. It's a little uncertain initially, but she's going to take the shot on it seems. Whitehead for the game's first goal. She just misses. Just clipped a little bit of the post. It faded ever so late. Looked good off the boot, but a behind only knots things up here at North Hobart Oval. One behind apiece. A low scoring, tight opening to this one as Bruce just blasts it down the centre looking for a Donahue. Lamb beaten to it though by Pacey, and now the Roos will stab it inside forward 50 to Reid. Looks up. Reid through from the extreme angle with no problems whatsoever. 7-1 here. The opening goal of the contest. Going the way of Clarence. Over the Demons to try and respond. One down towards Clark, battling away with Webster. Reid's clearance was blocked off by Barnes. The receiver back was Burt, but she's immediately locked up. Clarence did pretty comfortably in the most recent meeting between these two sides. Expecting a much closer affair here today. He's coming close to getting a grand final ticket last week against the Tigers, coming up just short. So tight between the top three all season in this competition as Clark locks that one in there. Keys of this Demons engine room. Out of traffic, then just hurry to kick across the ground in the Whitehead direction. Some good vision to spy her. Used Edmonds. guided kick towards Limerick has paid a mark just into Limerick. Mackenzie Banks maybe a little bit stiff there. Thought she got some good hands on that ball. Limerick just heads wide because peeling off was Maisie Clark. No one near her, and she can use the open room to drive it inside the forward 50. Just taken away there. The last second from Wickham. Anderson arriving with some speed. In the end, Smith brought to ground by Lily Harper. Smith paddles down. Right. Just paddled it outside the England direction. Got a bit of a shove there from Preshaw. Spills out towards Wagner. O'Donoghue has a hold of her and she is not letting go. Good tackling from Adelaide O'Donoghue. Smith palms down. Maddie Lamb through heavy traffic with a wide ball out in front of O'Donoghue. Strength from Wagner, just crashed into her, kept her balance, worked it back to Rachel Archer, who spied Oates over the top in some space. Oates now towards Limerick. To reach down, gather it, was good below her knees, squaring ball to Anderson. Anderson has Reid in support. Reid sells some candy. She straightens up and sets sail for home. Over Reid. A spectacular goal for the Roos, and they have the first two of this preliminary final. Their young stars shining inside the forward 50. And Reid just sold the candy a treat there. And made no mistake. Clarence out to a good start here. The first two goals of the game, they've been dominating in terms of territory. Demons struggling to get the ball forward of centre at the moment. They need a response. It's delightful play there from Reid, just sent Negri the wrong way. Got those key weapons inside forward 50 there. Proving a handful early on as they look to go out of the middle again. Here's Webster. Work the handball across to Anderson, who dances through some traffic and lofts one to centre half forward. Bruce takes the relieving mark. She wheels off to her right and drives it towards Moffat through her hands. Might fall for Thomas. Coming through was Clark. Pressured though by Clark of the Clarence side. Clark's battling away there. High ball from Moffat. Just stay in. It wasn't a particularly favourable kick there for England. There were some hands on it though, so it'll be tossed in at centre half forward. Tossed into play, one down by McGuinness, but Clarence will get the clearance again. High ball up the wing. Defensive work done there by Ferguson. Ferguson can't quite keep that one in play. Demons inside 50 since the early exchanges of this one. Looking to get something going here. McGuinness doing the ruck work up against Robertson. Good pursuit from the umpire as Barnes is brought to ground. McGuinness run it down. Thomas and Lamb. Littered midfielders in there trying to get something going for the Demons. Have been beaten at clearance thus far. Preshaw immediately besieged by Thomas. Good vision to spy Burton. Barnes, who lost it towards the Grace White direction. Here's Mifsud turning onto a left. Might have inadvertently found a teammate. Wasn't her intent. Superb handball to Clark. Clark handballs it to herself. Didn't get a kind bounce. Still going Clark. And she's brought down without it. Has to be a free kick. It is. Just relentless work right there from Angie Clark, rewarded repeat efforts and drew the free kick, and a chance for a steadying goal here for the Demons. They could badly do with it. Hardy just grabbing it without the football. Had to be a free kick. So Clark, she was crowned best and fairest, or co-best and fairest in the league. She shows just why here for the Demons and gets them on the ball with their first. That's the lift they needed. It's their star Angie Clark helping to provide it. Good repeat efforts inside forward 50. A composed finish to cut the margin back to 6 points. Back to the middle. Foothold in the game now for the Demons as Anderson comes through the centre clearance and wins it away for the Roos. High ball for Murgatroyd, who works the football and takes the mark. She started this one sharply, Luca Murgatroyd. She'll drive them inside the forward 50. Wickham barking there ahead of Vernon. Just gets it moving quickly. Pre-Shaw in the goal square gets clattered into. Umpire says play on. And then says holding the footy, and a free kick will go the way of the Roos. And it's Ava Reid, the beneficiary. And she'll go back from point blank range and surely kick her side's third of the contest. She makes no mistake. It's Ava Reid. Out to a 12-point lead. Tackle late as the kick was attempted. It was a pretty red-hot decision. Replay. A real prior opportunity for mine. Got the ball immediately, tried to get it to boot, but the umpire red-hot on it. Pays the free kick to Reid. The Roos restore their 2-goal buffer. McGuinness wins it down. Anderson just overrunning it. She'll go back in for it here. Handball's out towards Preshaw, but Clark beats her to the football and screws one round the corner towards Grace White. Spiked away from her. O'Donoghue back towards White. White centering handball. Couldn't find a teammate. England working in there and force a stoppage. Down by Robertson. O'Donoghue swoops on the football. High ball. And tracking it was White. Just read it superbly. She'll go back. Try and respond. The goals starting to flow here late in quarter number 1. Grace White. Oh dear, she's tugged the kick. It's unlike her. Normally very reliable. Just rushed it a little. Missed opportunity there for the Demons. Lead for the Roos back to 11, but a real let-off there. Short ball finds Hardy. Hardy didn't get enough on that kick. Was always ambitious trying to find Whitehead. Just dropped short into the path of Clark, who's been a prolific self early on. Spies Thomas on the paint of 50. Thomas set it up again in the Grace White direction. There's the tackle, handball release just in time. Archer with the clearing kick away. Finding with Smith. Scrap for it at ground level. Clark and Anderson battle away. Anderson paddling it out into space. And eventually it's cleared out of there by Wagner. Defensive work done by Ferguson. Numbers favoured the Roos and she's able to force a stoppage. The final minute of the first quarter. 11-point lead the way of the Roos. Probably fair enough on balance of play, but I feel they should have cut the margin moments ago via White. McGuinness, Anderson again. Somehow Lamb able to force the ball on out of there. Here's defensive 50. That's it for Whitehead. They're able to force it forward via Anderson, who is intercepted by Burt at centre-half back, which was the last line of defence. Everyone really pushed up the ground there. Lamb applies pressure, but Rachel Archer Stands strong under the pressure, and that brings us to quarter time here at North Hobart Oval in the SFLW Premier League preliminary final. It's an 11-point lead in favour of the Roos after quarter number one. The Young Stars doing the damage on the scoreboard early on in this one. It's been fast-paced opening. Clarence have had the better of it. The Demons have shown a threat back the other way. That's after one term, an 11-point lead in favour of Clarence Roos, looking to set up a rematch with the Tigers next week. Hobart trying to make it 4 premierships in a row. They're going to have to come back from behind today if they're going to do that. Back soon with quarter number 2, live from North Hobart. So just about ready to get going with quarter number 2 as the patrons vacate this famous footballing venue. It's the Roos with an 11-point lead after the opening quarter of action here. 2 goals to Ava Reid, 1 to Luca Murgatroyd. Angie Clark, 1 back at the other end for the Demons. Clarence certainly had the better of the early exchanges here. See if the Demons can hit back. The Roos engine room was humming for much of that first quarter. The Demons need a lift in the department here. They started to claw their way back into the contest late. The bookends of the quarter were controlled by North Hobart, but the time in between very much Clarence on top of proceedings here. Just waiting for the umpire to shut a gate before we can get underway, and now we will do so. So 11 points the lead in favour of Clarence as we get things underway. Reid moving into the ruck here for the Roos. Here's Maddie Lamb, looks to palm off Webster. Her kick though was shut down by Oates. Arriving is Wagner, just toes it into the open space. Will give chase after her own kick. Gathers the ball as Wagner goes looking for Murgatroyd. Pitches just in front of her and trickles across the line. Terrific opening quarter. Murgatroyd involved in plenty of balancing attacking moves for the Roos and kicked a wonderful goal from the pocket as well. Webster lays the tackle. Brings it up once more. Down by Reid. Oates. Anderson uses her wheels, spreads it across to Preshaw, guides it inside the forward 50. Trying to get through was Pacey. Looked it out, a flying shot from Oates. Bruce defending Wickham, who squares it up by hand. Lamb crashes in with her body, forces the stoppage. Again, goes to the ball, but going nowhere. Smith won it down. Clark handles it across. It's handled by Splann. Another disposal for Clark. She's been busy early in this one. Off hands, Archer will be first to it, just overran the football though, and now the Demons will try and go back the other way via Grace White, who spears one to Mifsud. It's wide open in front of her, just 2 players ahead of Mifsud here. Clarence defence flooding back. The one player they had was Atkinson, but the kick didn't suit her at all. Clarence able to repel. Not much for the ball though, because they'd all just run back to help out the defence. High ball from Mifsud, took a chaotic bounce right into the path of Charlotte Barnes, who slaps it on the boot, drives it towards the goal, and it bounces just the wrong side of the post. Didn't quite get the bounce she was after there, Charlotte Barnes. It was a wide open goal square. A bit of a hind only. As Wagner carries it out and spies Reid on a searching lead. Behind the ball, looking for Grace White. Archer reaches in, it's stripped away from her. The umpire calls for it. So the Demons pressing here early in quarter number 2, trying to get back into this one. 10 points adrift as it stands. Quest for a 4th consecutive premiership, towed into space there by Maddie Lamb. Just held the opponent without the football. Umpire says play on. Moffat's handball to Clark. Clark tackled by Anderson. Oates gathers, had to get rid of it, did. Oates goes back in, is immediately mobbed. And Brought to ground by Smith. Now Oates busy in the Clarence midfield early today. Plenty of football, though. Haven't had it as many times as Angie Clark, who gets it again here. She's got it on a string at the moment, Clark. Went looking for Grace White in the pocket. This is scored it across the line by Hardy. LA Ottaway medal was shared earlier in the week by Angie Clark and Maddie Lamb. Clark in particular here today showing just right. She has been humming early. It's a good tackle to strip Burt of the ball. Possession for Oates. Goes looking there for Ivory. Had her pocket picked by Clark. Then paddled it back in the direction of right. Webster beat her to it. That was favouring the Roos here as Whitehead just works it wide to Limbrick. A time to recover the spill mark and set it up to a wide open forward 50. A couple of one-on-ones back there. Under pressure was Bruce, just blindly heaved it straight to Pacey. And now Murgatroyd slips out the back. She'll run into an open goal. Well, Murgatroyd. And a counter-punching goal there for the Roos. It was wide open inside forward 50. And Murgatroyd bags her second. She has two. Reed has two. The young stars getting the job done inside forward 50 for Clarence. And a handy break of 16 points. They land the first blow in quarter number 2. Being under a bit of pressure at the back in the early minutes. They land a blow back the other way. To the middle. Wilson throwing an arm at it. Clark travelling away. Burt forced it back to Lamb outside of the boot towards Rachel Archer. Clark just relentless in her work rate, but she was outnumbered there, and Whitehead's able to force it ahead and spies Limbrick. Jacinta Limbrick has Murgatroyd at half forward. Just sets it up for her, and now Murgatroyd puts it right into the middle of the forward 50. Arriving was Oates. Can't crash free. Got the handball away in time, though. Despairing defence from the Demons, and they just about hold the line. Preshaw spun around and caught holding the football by Wright. A brilliant defensive play there from the Demons. It was looking ominous indeed, but they hold the line. Clearing ball. Webster breaks it up ahead of Burt. Trying to crash on through was Negri. Holding the football, says the umpire. That surely can't be an advantage. Oh, it has been paid to Webster, and Webster takes the advantage and drives it through. Well, everyone had stopped at half forward. Everyone except Gemma Webster, who jumps on the football and slams through another one for the Roos. And they're out by 22 points here. Everyone heard the whistle, turned, stopped. I think that's kind of what created the advantage, which I'm never really a fan of seeing. But Webster, she did not stop. She just gathered the ball up, motored on and kicked the goal. Yeah, Mackenzie Banks was there. She just kind of turned around and looked at the umpire since the free kick. So a little stiff there perhaps, but Gemma Webster, boy did she seize the opportunity, and suddenly it's a 22-point break the way of the Roos. It's starting to look dicey here for the Demons as Anderson blasts them forward again, but that one is intercepted back there. Ferguson just pulled the kick a tad. That lets Preshaw in. Preshaw, plenty of bodies flowing inside the forward 50. Preshaw runs into a bit of trouble. Pushed aside there by Thomas. Murgatroyd tight to the line, able to gather the football and square it up. How will it bounce? Too bad for Limbrick. McGuinness picks it up and is immediately wrapped up. Roos firmly on top here at the moment as Murgatroyd goes off the ground. Wickham, come on, lay a glove on that. They did not. It's a remarkable goal. Nobody got a touch on it. And Murgatroyd has another. And it's a 28-point lead. The bounce of the Sharon there. Murgatroyd just went with the left. Bruce couldn't get a hand on it. And Murgatroyd has another. She has 3. Clarence have 6. And the Demons are in all sorts of trouble. In dire need of the next one. In the blink of an eye, Clarence have blown this wide open. Thomas scoops it out for Wright, but she lost a hold of the football. Webster back through some heavy traffic. Oates charging on. O'Donoghue just shoves her in the back. That was pretty blatant. Free kick will go the way of Oates. You can see the confidence flowing through this Clarence side right now. And Luca Murgatroyd is at the heart of all of it. She reels in another one. Murgatroyd assesses the options. And the sides to just set it up towards the teeth of goal. Off hands, Rove, snapped, gold, Wickham. It's raining goals for Clarence right now. They've kicked 4 in the space of 5.5 minutes. And they might just have blown this preliminary final wide open. They're storming through to the grand final here. Unless North Hobart can quickly find a way to reverse course. This has been an onslaught. Wickham the latest. And it has just gotten away from the Demons in a matter of minutes. The first 5 minutes of the term, they were pretty competitive. They were pushing hard to cut the margin back to a couple of points, but just feels like every time the Roos go forward now, they're going to get a goal, and they're going to take it out of the middle again here. Anderson's kick finds Clark. Clark sets it up towards the half-forward line. The mark was spilt, though, as Vernon applies the tackle. Clark doing all she can on hands and knees, fighting for it. It'll be a stoppage. The most recent meeting in round 15 was a pretty comprehensive Clarence victory. Today, following a similar path. Lamb can't get the football away as Harper climbed on top of her. One down by Robertson. Tackling pressure from Clarence, just swarming the Demons. Ball carriers at all moments here at the moment. Multiple tacklers hitting them as soon as they win the football. Now it's the Demons' turn to apply some pressure. And they win the ball away, but Moffat couldn't take it. Clark will. Heads wide on the left towards the wing. Burt recovers, but good effort from Edmonds. Just kept on her tail, forces the turnover. Clark back to Archer, tries to take on Mifsud, and Mifsud brings it down, but slipped above the shoulder. And a free kick the way of the experienced Archer. She heads corridor. Banks arriving. The bounce, though, favoured the Roos. Everything seems to be going their way right now. Some good vision from Limbrick. Got it there to Pacey, who used Webster, and now Ava Reid in acres of space at half forward. She's going to close in on goal here. She squares it up towards the teeth of goal. Brilliant football again from Ava Reid. She's been outstanding, and Wickham with a chance for her second in a row. Just the awareness to put the kick to Wickham's advantage there, but just afforded far too much space was Ava Reid. And the Roos lead this one by 40 points at the 13.5 minute mark. They have blown the doors wide open. 5 goals in a row here This quarter, 6 for the match. And 40 points might already be a match-winning break. Wickham has her second. Reid also multiple goals. Murgatroyd with 3. Webster the other one. Angie Clark the lone goal scorer for the Demons, who are just getting absolutely blitzed right now. Clark hands the football in the middle again. They just had no answer to contain this rampaging Clarence forward line. Lamb wins the free kick there. She find a target inside forward 50 and get them going. Mifsud the likely target here. Diving, sprawling, couldn't reel it in. And the Roos repel. Preshaw. This flowing football with speed through the middle of the ground has torn the Demons to pieces. That ball too wide for Reid. The Demons can take over on half back with Michaela Bruce. Pressure came from Ferguson. Tossed up. Attacking side of the wing. Nice ruck work there from Smith. Moffat back to Smith. Kick found Burt. She's immediately wrapped up and holding the ball is the call. Red hot on that today. High ball into the corridor. Grace White takes the mark. Oh, but she's run down from behind. Oh, the umpire has said she had to go back behind her mark. A little fortunate there was White. They need a few lucky breaks. They need something to get going. That's a beautiful kick to Clark. Kind of pushed up the ground. No one out the back here. The lead's coming short, so Clark will just wheel into the corridor and then drive it as far as she can and found a marking target inside the forward 50. It was a lovely ball there from White. Maybe an opportunity here for Negri to get something back. Surprising Clark at the heart. That for the Demons. So Negri won't have the journey. Snap across the face from England. Just couldn't quite split the middle. Her team needed it. Just a few minutes left, couple of minutes left here in the second quarter. North Hobart in dire need of a couple of late goals here just to give them something to build from. Smith out of the ruck contest, cleared away by Whitehead. Clark arriving with speed. Robertson goes in for it. As it clasped to her chest. Here's Clark again, swings it over her shoulder in the direction there of Mifsud. Clarence defence holding out well. Releasing the handball was Hardy. They'll clear it away once again. Marked by Lily Harper. Quick handball was sharp and some encroachment on the protected zone will advance them 50 metres here. So Harper sets it up in the Ava Reid direction and gets a free kick. Well, they seemingly had the situation under control. They had two players on her, but the infringement comes and Ava Reid, who they've simply had no answer to here, this young star. What a player she is. He has the opportunity for her third of the first half. And before half time, it could be a 46-point lead if she kicks truly. Just tugs it offline. goals too. They've certainly taken their chances as well, have the Roos. The kicking for goal has been fantastic. Reed just missing that one. It's been a rare miss. The one behind they did get was a rushed one, so I think this is the first time they've actually missed with a shot for goal today. Clark continuing to battle away for the Demons in midfield. Just needs a few more to go with her. Bird arrives to spoil. She was in there. Thomas reaches in. She's stripped of the football. Forced back by Edmonds, and then the kick around the corner. Clark handballed into space. Too sharp for Lamb. Limbrick tries to bust through her tackle, and this time not a red hot whistle. It'll just be a ball up. And Lamb for a tackling tenacity. Sticks them pretty well generally. Thomas. Call for a hold on Anderson. Siren imminent, maybe time enough for a quick mark. Siren just beats Ava Reed. And there is the half-time break. The Demons have been absolutely battered in that quarter. Clarence have absolutely torched them. It was an 11-point lead at quarter time. It's now 41 points. They kicked 5 goals, 1-1 behind for the term. And they are looking like they're going to storm into next week's decider against the Tigers. A rematch looming there next week, barring an improbable comeback from the Demons, who will go into the sheds needing to regroup and needing to find a miracle in all truth. Clarence have been spectacular. They absolutely turned it on that quarter, and it's been the young stars inside forward 50, Murgatroyd and Reed especially. The Demons have had no answers to them. 3 goals for Murgatroyd, 2 goals for Reed, a couple of goal assists. Wickham also with a couple. Webster, the other goal kicker. Angie Clark, who's just about been a lone hand at times for the Demons. She has been absolutely superb in the midfield. Kick to goal. She is showing why she was the medalist announced earlier in the week with Maddie Lamb, but just not enough winners really on any other line for the Demons. They're in arrears by 41 points. We'll see if they can find some answers in the halftime break, but it's looking like the Roos are going to storm into next week's grand final. Back shortly with quarter number 3. Set it up towards the teeth of goal. Off hands. Rove. Snapped. Gold. Wickham. It's raining goals for Clarence right now. Closing on goal here. She squares it up towards the teeth of goal. Brilliant football again from Ava Reed. She's been outstanding, and it was Ava Reed. And the Roos lead this one by 40 points at the 13.5-minute mark. somehow reels it in, then flicks it across to Preshaw. Preshaw almost found Murgatroyd. Ivory was lurking. Quickly blasted out of defensive 50. Here's Angie Clark now. Some room to manoeuvre for Clark as she fires the handball over the top to Atkinson. Atkinson searching for Smith. Archer immediately closes it down, strips her of the football, and the Roos win it right on back. Anderson hands it over the top for Oates. Oates using Anderson to continue to run. The kick, though, was straight to Chelsea Thomas. White might have been pushed under the football there. Appeals for a free kick, nothing doing. The Roos work it back to Whitehead in the middle of the ground. Didn't have too much ahead of the football, so just wait for some leads to develop and go sideways in the meantime. Limbrick pushes up. Webster continued her run, but Limbrick's just going to drive it inside 450 over the head of Murgatroyd, but Reid was there, and she plucks another one. Hands it off to Webster. Webster handballs it to Limbrick. Limbrick back to Reid. Reid snaps it towards the square, just spilled by Murgatroyd. But the umpire spots a hole by Mackenzie Banks. And Murgatroyd will go back from 15 out directly in front for her fourth. Murgatroyd puts it through the middle for goal number 4. And Clarence lead this one by 49 points. They are marching towards the grand final with authority. And Luca Murgatroyd is leading them there. She has 4. Seemed a fairly innocuous free kick, that one. Murgatroyd just playing in front. Made no mistake. They're looking a little defeated out there, the Demons. 1-2 punch of Reid and Murgatroyd continuing to wreak havoc. Reid now moving back into the ruck. Just goes in those ruck contests and pushes forward. She's impacting proceedings all over the ground over Reid. Precocious young talent. A real star of the present and indeed the future. Forward to seeing where her career develops as Clark launches it forward again for the Demons. Archer hearing out after this one. Flung the handball over the top to Edmonds. Going to return it to Archer. Archer kept on fighting through. England there now. As walls burst and they're able to bring down Edmonds. Reid won it down. Clark first hands to the football, but just running out of room. Steps across the line. Reid reaches over the top. Whitehead full of her kick. Smith tries to crash through a couple. She's going nowhere. Smith, right down to Lamb. Lamb with a high ball towards a pack, and it's beautifully brought down by White. So strong in the air, and she plucks this one, does Grace White. Understatement of the season to say they need a goal here, the Demons. Grace White missed one from a similar spot earlier today. This one's working back and working back through the middle. And finally they get their second. Stops a run of 7 consecutive Clarence goals. Stems the bleeding. Cuts the margin back to 43 points. And it's going to need to be the first of many if there's any chance of a miraculous comeback here, which doesn't seem likely. The Roos have just been too good here today, but White, she's fought hard for her side, just hasn't had the supply. It's the goal there. The premier forwards of the competition Here's Grace White. So finally a second goal. Seems like an eternity ago. The Clark kicked there first. This one arriving halfway through quarter number 3. Smith won it down to Clark, but he's taken away there by Robertson. Handed it back. Blasted forward in the direction of Preshaw. Preshaw ripped off it by Lamb. Some support came in the form of Whitehead and stoppage forced. Smith holding her ground. Webster spinning over the top. Smith. The kick smothered. Thomas get too much purchase on the volleyed attempt, and then Oates just scything through the traffic. Sprayed the kick slightly off the side of the boot, gave chase to her own work. Couldn't gather it, but lays a tackle. Rhianna Oates has been immense in that midfield for the Roos today. One of the best players on the ground. White doing the ruck work. Preshaw. Negri locks it in. White wins it down. Pacey first to the football. Goes looking there inside 450. Murgatroyd again. Stabs it up and finds Preshaw. Delightful kick. And Preshaw can go back from 30 out directly in front. Supreme play again from Murgatroyd. A chance for Heidi Preshaw. Bag her first to the contest. Sends it on its way. Looks pretty good off the boot. Right over the goal umpire's hat from Preshaw. And Clarence answer right back. Extend the lead back to 49 points. They are going to be playing off in next week's grand final. They're going to be heading into it full of confidence as Preshaw becomes the latest to add her name to the score sheet. Luca Murgatroyd with another goal assist. The mark and the pinpoint ball to Preshaw, just outstanding. And just eludes Webster. Pacey spilt the way of Webster. Free kick had been blown. Clark taken without the football. The Demons have been the powerhouse of this competition for the past few years. Their premiership streak going to come to an end. It's been a really competitive year as this one's worked forward by Moffat. Archer arriving to shut it down. Smith tracking this one to the line. It'll win out though, the boundary line. It's been a fascinating competition all year. The top three have been so tightly matched for much of it, but Hobart just haven't quite been able to go with the Roos in their late season meetings. Yeah, cracking grand final next week. The qualifying final was a beauty between the Tigers and Roos last week. Not much between them. The Roos will be feeling the confidence. Give a slight psychological edge to the Tigers with that win last week, but he's got to be feeling good about the state of their game given the way they've played here this afternoon. As the Demons try and snap one. McGuinness reels it into the goal square. Chance for their second of the term. McGuinness makes no mistake, drives it through from point blank range, and they have their second of the quarter. Work from Smith in the ruck contest, just got to the teeth of goal. McGuinness reaches up, converts. The Demons, their home faithful, something to cheer for there. Pretty good crowd in attendance here this morning. Terraces, east side of the ground, camera side of the ground, pretty well filled here. Enjoy a real show from the young stars of the game in the state. Rita Murgatroyd in particular. Oates has also been outstanding out of the midfielders. Goes back in there, and Webster this time the clearance. All alone was Murgatroyd. She might get it anyway. Springs back, shares it with Reid. That duo again. There's no stopping them. The Murgatroyd and Reid show continues. And Clarence get their 11th. Ava Reid, her third. Murgatroyd, she has 4 and 2 or 3 goal assists. Just far too much time and space. The ball just got out of the centre clearance. You cannot be standing off these two that far. Hard enough to stop when they are manned up properly. When you give them time and space inside forward 50, it's just giving away goals. And their brilliance continues to shine through. The lead back out to 49 points. Cleared up towards the half-forward line there by Smith. On top of it, Mifsud, but immediately locked up. Smith takes it out of the ruck. Sends it towards White. Backing back with courage was Knowles. Just got in the path. Wore some contact. A chance now for Clark. She'll turn onto a left. Couldn't quite direct it. It's defended away. The clearing kick. Get outside defensive 50. And locked in for a ball up. O'Donoghue hit the stoppage with speed. Her kick though lacking accuracy and trickles across the line. Clark trying to gather it. Moffat can't escape the clutches of Archer and Pacey. And down by Smith. Archer just retreating and happy to see it across the line is Rachel Archer. A reliable presence in this Clarence outfit. Plays with courage and dare. Gives him plenty of drive, puts the body on the line. Smith's kick blocked off. Might fall for Barnes. Clarence able to see it away via the boot of Pacey. Her kick straight down the throat of Bruce, who spilt it. Numbers at the fall of the ball. Some support came from Thomas. He looked to get it out the back, just whacked it into space. And now foot race developing. Arriving was right. Actually able to win the football. Shares it there with Splann. Splann's kick broken up by Webster. Clark been held on to. Play on as Burt sends it in towards Mifsud. Mifsud releases the handball. Goes straight to Preshaw. Preshaw stripped of it by Clark. And then he tossed up inside the forward 50. Dying embers of quarter number 3. And the Demons snag a late one here. And the siren deny them. And there it is, the 3/4 time siren. As Clarence extended their lead further by kicking 3-2 in the third term. A better quarter for the Demons, but they needed to make sizable inroads. Instead, the Roos extend their lead from 41 points at halftime to 49 points. The Demons were able to get a couple of goals back there via White and McGuinness, but at the other end, Murgatroyd and Reid continue to run rampant, and they have Clarence on the precipice of a grand final appearance. He's set to set up a rematch with the Tigers next week. Three-quarter time, the SFLW Premier League preliminary final. It is Clarence, 11-4-70, with 1.5 feet in next week's decider against the Tigers, leading North Hobart 3-3-21. Back soon with the final term here from North Hobart. They need a goal here, the Demons. Grace White missed one from a similar spot earlier today. This one's working back through the middle. And finally they get their second. Stops a run of six again. Stabs it up and finds Preshaw. It's a lot. Sends it on its way. Looks pretty good off the boot. Right over the goal umpire's hat from Preshaw. And Clarence answer right this afternoon. As the Demons try and snap one. McGuinness reels it into the goal square. McGuinness makes no mistake, drives it through from point blank range, and they have their second of the quarter. Of the game in the state, Reid and Murgatroyd in particular. Oates also been outstanding out of the midfielders. Goes back in there, and Webster this time with the clearance. All alone was Murgatroyd. She might get it anyway. Springs back, shares it with Reid. That duo again. There's no stopping them. The Murgatroyd and Reid show continues. And Clarence get their Back for the final quarter here at North Hobart. Clarence just on the cusp of progression through to next week's decider with a 49-point lead over North Hobart. I was expecting a pretty tight battle today, but it's been largely one-way traffic. North Hobart have had some spells in the game where they've been on top, but ultimately not able to really hit the scoreboard in those moments, whereas Clarence have just hit the scoreboard heavily whenever they've been in the ascendancy. Reid and Murgatroyd have been absolutely lights out. Oates has been wonderful through the midfield, as has Mia Anderson. North Hobart, well, I've got to say Angie Clark has at times played a load hand. She's been amongst the best players on the ground. She's been superb for them. They haven't had too many other winners across the ground. Grace White's offered them a bit forward of centre, but it's been dominant stuff from the Roos, and that's why they stand on the precipice of a grand final appearance. 49 points their lead. They're 20 minutes away from booking a rematch with the Tigers. We'll see how this one concludes. Thomas with hands to the football. Tries to step through some traffic. Was clean to get the ball to Barnes. Barnes heads wide for O'Donoghue, who can't quite track it down. Drifts out of bounds. Archer to take over. Clarence, interesting to see how they navigate this final term as White intercepts. Moves back to take the mark, draws the player to her, then fires the handball over the top. High searching ball inside 50, searching there for Atkinson, taken away from her. For the Roos, how do you attack this final quarter? You want to go into next week with all the confidence, but don't want to be risking unnecessary injuries. You go too hard, go back with the flight and do something you might do where the game's still there to be won. Maybe cotton wool for some stars who might be nursing a niggle or two as Wagner takes that one away. A kick brilliantly shut down by Angie Clark, who just continues to battle away for the Demons. She's done all she can for her side here today. Just haven't had enough winners around the ground, but she's shown just why she was the co-best and fairest of the league. Announced on Monday as Ava Reid wins another clearance, just thumps it up the ground. All to be won. See your bodies arrive at the football, paddled out there by Negri, but it's worked on to Limbrick. Limbrick searching for Murgatroyd. Murgatroyd hits the afterburners, storms inside 50, straightens up and just mistimes the kick. Thought for sure a fifth was coming up. It's probably been the only area of the game you can knock it today. A couple of shots for goal she's missed, but kicked a miraculous goal from the boundary early on. She's just so explosive. Once she gets separation in a few strides, the acceleration, it's a sight to behold, Luca Murgatroyd. And that kick is straight down the throat of Anderson. He's been busy today at Mia Anderson. Just a little uncertain here though, hesitates, then dribbles one into the heart of the 50. Quick handball back out towards Limbrick. Lamb crashing in there. Body on the line stuff. She knows only one way, Maddie Lamb, who shared that medal with Clark on Monday. Smith and Murgatroyd lock up. Limbrick in there. Ivory trying to release it. Murgatroyd comes away with it. Got the handball out to Whitehead. Going back in was Murgatroyd. Lamb, Ivory, that's kicking in danger. Yeah, free kick going the way of the Demons as Ivory swung a boot there in some pretty heavy traffic. High ball towards White and Banks, but parked in front is Ava Reid. Takes yet another mark. Crowded forward 50 ahead of us, so just goes sideways. Preshaw spilt it. Barnes in the defensive work. The handball was released. But the ball up had already been called by the umpire. Wide ball in the Archer direction. It takes the relieving mark. So Archer saunters inside, drives the kick. Blocked off by Thomas. Ivory bodies up. Vernon. Loose handball. Limbrick lays the tackle. Smeary instead, Jacinta Limbrick will be key player for them again on the big stage next week as Clark steps through traffic, releases the handball. Here's Murgatroyd again. Kicks it, spins backwards. Arriving is Reid, gathers, snaps, and just misses. Almost a spectacular goal again for Ava Reid. These young stars continue to shine. Grace White juggles the pack mark. No multiple hands, says the umpire. What will do the ruck work here? Nominates. It's Webster, perhaps the surprise nomination for Clarence. Webster outsized, but immediately lays a tackle. Now Reid will arrive to contest this one. Against Mackenzie Banks, Reid just reaches over the top. Thomas to Clark. Clark spins out of trouble. And curls it round the corner, but so well read by Archer. She's so good setting up behind the football, just reads the play so intelligently, sets it up. Just too much on the kick for Murgatroyd this time. It's intercepted back there by Vernon. Vernon searching for England. Tumbles into the path of Anderson. Anderson gets the hands free, skips through the traffic, then guides it in towards Limbrick, just over her head, spills out the back. Ball to be won. Thomas, the crunching tackle, forces the stoppage. Barnes sauntering out of defence, guides one up to the middle of the ground, but there's Anderson again. She's had stacks of it there, Anderson, and uses this one really nicely. Wickham got to the ball, couldn't quite reel it in. Murgatroyd lurking once more. Can't get free this time as the ball is held to her. Tossed up. Trying to get free, Negri. Barnes going in for it. Lee dispossessed. Tossed up once more. Smith slapped it down, but straight to Preshaw. Kick just misses Anderson. Not going to be 15, unfortunately, for Grace White. He'll be tossed up again. "51 points, an emphatic display this from the Roos. They've been relentless, really, from the outset. Kicked the first two of the game. Clark, the game's third goal, and then 7 consecutive goals to the Roos as they blew this one wide open. Just had too much firepower for the Demons' defence, whose streak of premierships is set to come to an end. It'll be a new premier this season. The Tigers or the Roos. Should be a cracking decider next week. Clarence will be hoping to make it a big day for their club and have their men join the women as Limbrick reels it in. That one coming up for you next on the AFL Tas live stream, the men's preliminary final. Clarence and North Hobart will be doing battle in that one as well. Lauderdale awaiting the victors there. So Jacinta Limbrick looking to get her first of the contest. And just leaves it near side. And through 4 are behind. Extends the lead out to 52 as this one's played to Lamb at half back. Maddie Lamb drives it up the wing. Backing back was White. Fell out for Wagner. Wagner stepping through. Sets it up, searching for Limbrick, who has it again. Just too far out to score. Whitehead offering a lead out the back. Limbrick assessing the options. Eyes naturally drawn to Murgatroyd. Wickham offering, but Limbrick going to run around and just set it up towards Murgatroyd again. Got hands to it, couldn't quite reel it in. Snap round the corner. He's offline. Missed opportunity there for the Roos to extend their lead further. Just eluded Wickham. Would have been her third of the contest as Lamb marks at half back. Maddie Lamb. Another fantastic season for her. Not her side stay. She's shown plenty of talent this season. That was not her best work though. And Limbrick, well, will have a third shot for goal in the space of about 90 seconds here. Would have been from a similar range. This one may be close enough. She's just come up short a couple of times, but Limbrick peppering the goals. Can she get her first here? Extend the lead out to 59. Feels like the game going through the motion a tad here in the back half of the final term. Limbrick, third time's the charm. No, not quite. Again, just pulling up short. Ball spills out. Here's the dangerous Ava Reid. She gathers. She shrugs free. She snaps. It's working back. It won't quite have the journey. And Mackenzie Banks on the last line of defence. Will repel, although then just turn it straight back over to Ava Reid, who's kicked 3. This one probably beyond her. She opens up the angle, gets close to goal. Now she might be close enough. Just offline Reid. They've been knocking on the door the last 5 minutes here, the Roos, but just adding behinds. All their shots have just been from a couple of metres too far out as Lamb gets another possession in the back pocket. Any trouble clearing defensive 50, but this time they're able to find Wright. Advance the ball up the ground here. Over the head of Archer. Edmonds' best position though. She'll just stab a short ball and it's brought in by Ruby Pacey. Sting well and truly out of this one now. As Pacey launches it forward. Wickham controls back to Anderson. Anderson fired the handball off to Clark. Returned it to Anderson. Anderson sets sail for home and it's another behind. Their goal-kicking boots have eluded them here in the final term. The Roos came in with 11 goals, 4. Suddenly, maybe they're just saving him up for next week. 5 straight behinds this quarter. They're peppering the goals, but not finding a major as O'Donoghue is shut down. Clark arrives. O'Donoghue just knocked it down the wing. Continues the charge, but the numbers were there for the Roos, and here's Oates, who's just racked it up this afternoon. Her kick bounces on its point back towards Pacey. Burt got there for the Demons. Handball back, but only as far as Preshaw. Preshaw with tackle from Thomas, not rewarded by the umpires. Backed on, but Webster will be first to it for the Roos as the numbers out the back, and we'll just use the loose out the back, and Archer drives it across to Whitehead. Whitehead back into the corridor. The mark was split there by Preshaw. Clark locked up. Can hold her head high. Angie Clark, comfortably her side's best player today. Lamb outside of the boot. Looks it towards the half forward line, but spun back into the path of Whitehead. Towards the contest over the head of Splann. Out the back, and Mackenzie Banks rather shanks the kick. It's out of play. It'll be a Clarence ball. Sun-soaked North Hobart Oval. Pacey, precise into the corridor for Webster, and the overlapping run is arriving. Set up ball from Edmonds. Lacking some accuracy. Vernon was there, as was Ferguson. Her kick skews towards the line. Reid couldn't quite track it down in time. 3 goals today for Ava Reid. Final 5.5 minutes of this one. 8 with the Tigers. 08. McGuinness palmed it down. Thomas shared it with Ferguson, was corralled, and then the turnover force stepping through Oates, released the handball out the back to Preshaw. Her handball shark there by Angie Clark, who drives it just over the head of O'Donoghue. And again, Clarence well represented behind the football. Archer's just been basically playing as a sweeper here in the second half, just been the loose behind the football, getting plenty of it. It's that kick through the hands of Pacey, has time to recover it. Now the pressure comes from O'Donoghue, but Pacey just slips out behind her, shares it with Edmonds. Edmonds tried to find Oates in some space, but her kick finds only the boundary line. And Clark can get yet another disposal. Be interested to see what her stat line is at the end of the day. She's had so much of it. Her kick, though, on this occasion misses. Lamb. Clarence keep pushing for a final goal of what's been a goalless last quarter. They've had the Demons hemmed in for basically the entirety of it, but added just 6 behinds. This one's kicked up towards Burt. Buffer it out of the way there by Hardy. Towards Whitehead. Grace White gets there first for the Demons. Can the Demons maybe spring something? White just has to wait for a few runners to get forward of the football for her. Now she'll send it inside the forward 50. Arriving was Banks, as was Atkinson. They force a stoppage. They find a late consolation marker here, the Demons. McGuinness won it down. Handed out the back to Archer. Archer kills it round, finds Whitehead. Plenty of space at half-back. Whitehead heading wide to a one-on-one on the wing. Ivory plucks it nicely. Demons with a loose out the back. Wickham with 2 opposed to her. Tries to shrug free there of Banks. Bruce rather. In the end, Wagner got to the football. Sent it up to Murgatroyd. Top of the square, Reid rather just lost her footing. It'll be tossed up deep inside forward 50. 3 minutes remaining in this one. McGuinness and Reid. McGuinness won it down. Just eludes Clark and out of play. Hasn't quite been the same heat in this final quarter as the preceding 3, which is no real surprise. The result was wrapped up heading into the term. Second quarter blitz setting this one up for the Roos. Ava Reid, how will it bounce? Right through the middle again. Ava Reid has 4. She has run absolutely rampant here today, this young star. And finally, the final term gets its first goal. Ava Reid joins Luca Murgatroyd with 4 goals apiece. They've probably got 3 or 4 goal assists each as well. They've complemented each other superbly today, that duo. The Demons have simply had no answer. And the lead now sits at 61 points. As we tick into the final 90 seconds, and fitting perhaps the final goal of the game will go the way of Reid. There might be time for one more, but if she were to have the final say, it would be quite fitting. It's been a masterpiece from her and Luca Murgatroyd today. Clark applying some pressure. Locks it in there again. 8 of the 12 goals they've got between their two star young forwards. And we're looking to turn it on in a week's time. Try and turn the tables on the Tigers. Beat them by 10 points last week in the qualifying final. It was a grouping encounter. The stage is set for next week's grand final between the Tigers and Roos to be an absolute beauty. The Roos are going to head into it filled with confidence after this performance. It's been emphatic. As Rachel Archer just racked it up off the half-back line, stabs it short for Whitehead, shared it with Ivory. Ivory over the head of Clark. Mackenzie Banks back there for the Demons. Burt sandwiched between a couple, but absolutely clattered into. Barnes lofts it towards Grace White. Continues to work hard. Perhaps time for a late consolation goal. Sends it inside the forward 50. Spills out the back for Mifsud. Mifsud slaps it on the boot. Did she beat the siren? She did. No, she didn't. Oh, I thought she did. The umpire disagreed. So, a 61-point final margin. Absolutely emphatic from the Clarence Roos. They storm into the grand final. They kick 7 consecutive goals in the second and early part of the third term to blow the doors off this thing. It really was the Murgatroyd and Reed show forward of centre. They were absolutely dominant, that duo, really from the outset. Kicked their side's first couple of goals. Murgatroyd with one from the pocket. Reed with a brilliant solo goal. She stormed inside 450 and they just kept doing it all morning long. The Demons with no answers to that duo. They kicked 4 apiece and set up a thumping victory in midfield. Oates was spectacular. Mia Anderson had a lot of it too. Thought Angie Clark played a pretty lone hand for the Demons, but they were just winners across the ground really. Archer was composed behind the football. Webster had plenty of it. They'll head into next week's decider filled with confidence. 61-point victors. The Demons bid for a 4th consecutive flag falls short. It'll be the Roos and the Tigers in the decider next week. I've been Andrew calling the action for AFL Tasmania. Don't go anywhere. Next up, another Demons v Roos battle in the men's preliminary final. That one for you shortly. And in the women, it's going to be the Roos advancing. See you next week for that one. Bye for now.